Good afternoon, and shall I say Happy New Year. Today is January the 3rd. I hope and pray that you've been having, just some peace, some tranquility, been having a great 3 days. I know a lot of things are going on. There's been a rise in COVID. I'm here in Florida, but, there's just a rise in COVID all over the world. And has us a bit of turmoil, but I want to come on here and share a message with you, and it is called Be Still and Know, coming from Psalms 46:10. But also, God is in control and He will get the glory. So this is actually going to be a two-part message, but I want to share this with you. Also, I want to say that you can read this one. I'm going to touch on the whole, not just the whole scripture, not just the be still and know. I'm going to touch on the be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen, and I will be exalted in the earth. So I want to share that with you. The second message is going to come back and say, be still and know that God is God. So I'm going to touch on this in two different ways, but God will get the glory either way it goes, and He is in control no matter what is going on here. So here we go. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen, and I will be exalted in the earth. Do you really know what it means to be still and know that God is God? This is a lesson that I know all so well. If I may be honest with you, this has not been an easy task for me. For example, I was placed in a position where I had to sit still for 2 weeks, and this required me to depend on others to do things for me. It required me to open up my mouth and ask for help. I had to release all control and just be in a state of rest. And if I can be honest with you, this is when God really speaks to us, when we are at rest. And He really speaks loud and clear if we're listening. Many times we look at the passage of scripture, Psalms 46:10, and we only quote the first part, be still and know I am God. However, we choose to dismiss the rest of the scripture. Although there will be times we must be still, sit down, or even go into our secret place where we must drown out the voices of others and remove ourselves from the stresses of life. We must always remember that we have to have confidence in God to be our deliverer, protector, healer, and provider, because He is all those things. I'm reminded of Exodus 14:14, which tells us, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Need only to be still. God will fight your battles, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter if it's the death of a loved one. When I say fight your battles, let me back that up. If you're going through trials and tribulations, God will fight those battles. If you have an enemy coming after you, God will fight those battles. If you're going through sickness in your body, God will fight that battle for you. And if you're having financial problems, God will fight that battle for you. A lot of times we just have to sit and be still and allow God to be God. Because God is in control of everything. We know that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and everything belongs to God. So whatever we're standing in the need of, or whatever we're trying to do in our own strength, we just need to release it and allow God to be God. Because God cares so much for us, so much about us, that He knows every detail about us. He knows the number of hairs on our head. He knows, when we have when we've sinned. He knows when we have confessed those sins or not. He knows if we have forgiven or not forgiven. God knows everything. He knows everything about us. So there's nothing we can't hide for Him. So even those little things that you're holding on to that you won't want to give up, Just give it to God. He knows all about your battles. He knows about your battles. He knows about your struggles. He sees your tears. He hears your cries. He knows when you're hurt or disappointed. God knows everything, and He is in control. We can't do things in our own strength. We must release control and rely completely on God. So, when it gets to the point of being still and knowing that God is God and He is in control, you have to ask yourself the question, God, do I trust you? Am I trusting you? Am I really trusting you with this situation? Am I giving you just a little control, and I'm still trying to be in control of it, or I'm still trying to hold on to it? And I'll just give you a little example from me. I'm a caregiver for both of my parents. My hardest one has been my mom, is my mom. There was a time where my mom was in a diabetic coma in 2018. She got well. She decided she didn't want to take any more medication. She didn't want to go to the doctor. But before she got to the point that she didn't want to go to the doctor, she just had stopped taking her medication. And this being my mom, because I'm seeing her health decline, so I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm going to nurse my mom, get her back to health, and, just see her thrive and live again. But that's not what her mindset was. And even to the point of, I was trying to control everything. Oh, you're going to the doctor. You're going to take this medication. You're going to do it. But it got to the point that my mom just showed me, hey, that's not it. And it's like God was saying, what are you doing? You can't make her take the medication. And I will honestly say, through it all, through the diabetic coma, through the not taking her medication, the high blood sugars, her not taking her thyroid medication, she has a couple of health issues going on. But I will honestly say, God has been keeping my mama. God is in control. God is in control. She's still here. And it was, 3-4 years ago, she's still here today. So when I tell you God is in control, because I was going to worry myself to death. I was just, but it was all in love and because I didn't want to give up. So my mom asked me to respect her wishes. No, I ain't trying to hear that. I wasn't trying to hear that. But what I failed to realize is God is in control. She may be to the point that she wanted to give up, but God is in control. She's still here today. So I know she has a purpose, and I know God is in control, because if He wanted her gone, she would have been gone when she was in that diabetic coma. And her blood sugars were very high. When they ran the test on my mom at the hospital, actually the paramedics did it here before they got her to the hospital. And I think they said their meter or something only went up to like 5 something. And that was too high. So when they actually ran blood tests on my mom, her blood sugar was 1,300. You can't tell me God is not in control. So it's like He was saying, Manisha, sit down and be still. I got this. I'm in control of this, not you. But I'm going to get back to this message. That was not in my message, but I'm sharing it. So maybe it'll help somebody to see that we have to release our control and trust completely and rely on God to do what He's going to do. Because we can't do anything by worrying. We can't do anything. We can't make people do anything. And it may not be medication. You may have a loved one who's addicted to drugs, pornography, or just, have any type of addiction. It could be shopping. It could be just anything, and you're trying to do it in your strength and get them to stop. God is in control of that. So that you got to release that and give it unto God. And when I say release it, I mean release it, put it down, and don't pick it back up, because God is in control. And I'm going to get to the next part of the scripture, which would be, I will be exalted among the heathen. Heathen means pagan or unbeliever, an unbeliever, someone who doesn't believe in Jesus Christ. So on the contrary, God sits high and looks low. He will take the foolish things and make them wise. This is evident by Romans 14:11 when I say that God is in control. When you read Romans 14:11, it states, "It is written, as surely as I live, the Lord, as surely as I live, whoo, every knee will bow before me. Every tongue will acknowledge God. There is no one like God who can compare. He is Alpha and Omega, our supreme ruler, the creator of heaven and earth." So I'm going to say to you, when it seems like somebody says, not seems like, but when somebody says, "I don't believe in God," or "there is no God," God can take the foolish things and make them wise. I'm going to share a story, and not even a story, a testimony with you about that. I had a Honda Accord, and it was running hot. I didn't know what was going on with it. But long story short, this gentleman, I was at, I want to say AutoZone or something. I was at one of those places, about to let them get ready and take a look at my car and see what was going on. The gentleman said, "Let me look for you." He lifted up my hood. He saw where the problem came from. When I tell you, this man fixed my car with a twig from a tree. He plugged that little hole up it and run hot again. It was able to hold the water. He plugged it up with a twig. So when I tell you God can take the foolish thing, it was foolish to me because I'm sitting up here like, no, I know I'm going to have to go in here and buy this part. Baby, when God is in it and God want to show you something to get your eyes open, he will take the foolish things and make you wise, because he's letting you know, hey, nothing is out of my control. Nothing is beyond me. I can do the impossible. It looked impossible to me, but hey, God was letting me know it's not impossible for me, my daughter. It's not impossible for me. And lastly, I will be exalted in the earth. God is all powerful. He knows our beginning from our end. As Proverbs 3:5-6 tells us, we must acknowledge God in all his ways and lean not to our own understanding, and he will direct our paths. This lets you know that God is in control. We just have to trust him. We just got to trust him and allow God to be God. So I just want to stop by and say, whatever you're holding on to that you haven't released, let it go. God can handle it and take care of it much better than you can. He can do a much better job. So I challenge you today. Don't be like the fool who says in his heart there is no God, for they hear the word and it falls on stony ground, on deaf ears, and they don't produce any fruit. Jesus still performs miracles today. He may not be turning water into wine, but for those who don't believe, he woke you up this morning. You are clothed in your right mind. You have activity of your limbs. God is in control of your circumstances. So be still and know that God is God. Even for those who may be struggling in their faith, who may be looking at everything that's going on around them, from injustice in the world to COVID, and looking at it and saying, God, where are you in all of this? God is still in control. He will still get the glory no matter what it is. He's going to get the glory. So what we need to do is just stay in a posture of prayer. Seek God like never before. Release control and let God be the great I am of our lives. Let him be our everything. I'm not going to hold you long. I just wanted to bring that message into you, and then I have a part 2 to this one. And it's still coming from Psalms 46:10, but this one is going to talk about God being in control, and you just being still. So I hope this message resonates with you, and it speaks to you about something. Share it with a friend if you need to. But again, I say today, be still and know that God is God, for he is in control.